Hi there, and welcome to this talk, An Introduction to Wellness. My name is Dan Magnus, and I'm a consultant in paediatric emergency medicine. I really want to thank you for taking the time to watch this because looking after the well-being of staff in medicine is so important, and we simply cannot care for our patients if we cannot care for ourselves. And in this short video, we're just going to look briefly at wellness, what it means, and why it matters. So what is wellness exactly? People talk about it in lots of different ways to mean a number of different things. The definition I like most, though, describes wellness as an active process through which people become aware of and make choices toward a more successful existence. I like this definition because it describes a shift from unconscious living, where you do not think about your health until you have a problem or experience symptoms, to conscious living, where you are actively making healthy choices to promote your success and well-being. The factors that contribute to our wellness, or can be detrimental if not taken care of properly, are highly individual. But there are a number of factors that will commonly affect many of us, and we'll just talk about those here briefly. Physical health, how we care for our physical bodies and the effects that ill health can have. Or mental health, such a problem for us in medicine and under-recognised, often neglected. But it is vital to be conscious of how our mental health is and to address this if problems arise. Managing shifts and work stress. We work in a difficult profession with many and varied stressors. Working shifts, and in particular nights, can be a particular problem, and this needs consideration and strategies to help ensure this way of working does not harm us. Nutrition. Unhealthy eating habits plague us in emergency medicine. From what we eat, sweets for dinner, or how we eat, perhaps not eating at all or just snacking. Nutrition is vital for keeping us physically healthy, but also for keeping us well in a broader sense. When, for example, did you last sit down with your family or loved ones for a meal, or with your colleagues for that matter? What about exercise? We know there are multiple benefits of exercise for our physical, mental and spiritual selves, but time can be an issue. Financial fitness. Very few people are working long shifts in hospitals because of the outstanding Christmas bonuses and company cars. Money, mortgage, bills can all be a source of stress and can damage our wellness. We need to be conscious of this and find mechanisms for making us resilient. What about personal and family plans? With the pressures of work, are you finding enough time to be with your family, to play, to nurture relationships with your loved ones, to be attentive to your personal life? This is key to wellness and must not be neglected. Spiritual nourishment, purpose, future. Do you have any time to think about your place in the world, your spiritual or your religious beliefs, your sense of purpose or what the future might bring? Are you planning or looking for something more? Giving yourself this time and space can support your wellness as well as your contentment. And what about career plans? Or put simply, where is your career going? Progression and career fulfillment and satisfaction do not often happen all by themselves. We need to be conscious of these and create space to think about them, even if it's developing a sense of well-being about where you are in the present and all of the positive things that your job and career actually entail in the here and now. So let me ask you this. Could this be you? It's 7 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. You've just finished an overnight shift and you've just finished handover. It was really busy, with one particularly unwell child who was sent to intensive care. You shiver as you realise how cold you are. You haven't eaten anything except for a bowl of pasta before you started your shift and a handful of sweets at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can't remember drinking anything. You reach for another sweet to keep your energy up, and you realise you have a 30-minute drive home. There are many things that we could discuss that relate to wellness from the situation we've just covered, but let's just consider four. Firstly, what about the effects of fatigue? What does being tired do to your body and to your mood, to say nothing of your ability to look after your patients and yourself? We really need to be conscious of this. Risks of driving. We commonly drive home after night shifts, but this needs consideration. Is it safe for you to drive? Are there alternatives? Do you need to take a nap before getting into the car? Cups of coffee and windows down are not necessarily the solution. What about nutrition and hydration? Are there ways of ensuring that you eat and drink better at work, in particular on night shifts? And how are you eating at home? And how about the emotional effects of work? How was your shift? Do you need to talk about what happened with anyone, either before going home or at another time in the future? Glossing over distress and difficult cases can cause problems in the future. All too often we let the various stresses and strains of work and shifts pass silently and subconsciously. There can be benefits to being mindful of what our bodies and our minds are experiencing, so we can try to put these things in place and to help ourselves. So is there a bigger problem here? Yeah. A number of articles and studies have looked at burnout in medicine, and especially in emergency medicine. We know that there are systemic problems that need to be addressed, but in the meantime, we have the potential to take better care of ourselves and of each other in a very active and conscious way to prevent burnout and to increase our resilience. Thinking about this in terms of wellness is a good way to do this. Sure, there is still debate about whether it is the responsibility of the system or the individual to reduce stress, prevent burnout, and keep us on track. But the truth, of course, is that the answer to wellness in medicine depends on a huge number of variables. And in order to find a successful solution, we need to be creative, not just in how we respond to colleagues and friends with depression, stress, compassion fatigue, or burnout, but more importantly, in how we proactively care for each other and keep ourselves well. It is okay for us to acknowledge that in medicine, in particular in emergency medicine, that we do really valuable and rewarding work. Work that can be fun and inspiring, but also work that can be difficult, distressing, and stressful. To help mitigate this, we should all think about and feel able to admit to ourselves that it can be hard and that it is really, really important to talk to somebody if you're struggling. To think of ways to come down after a shift by exercising, by how we eat, by doing things to make us feel better, like art classes, or even something simple like a get-together after a shift for a breakfast. And to do things that make us happy and to keep things going. To give yourself some CBT, if you like. To really engage in positive experiences and activities to make you feel good. So my top 4 tips for wellness as an introduction are as follows. Firstly, try to create work-life balance. We pay lip service to this a lot, and of course it is highly individual, but ask yourself, have I got the balance right for me in my life? And if the answer is no, then it is important to try to address this. Secondly, try to make healthy choices. This means doing your best to make the right choices for your physical and mental health wherever you can. If I've not had anything to drink all day at work because I've been rushed off my feet, then maybe a glass of water rather than a glass of wine might be the healthier and better choice for what to pour into a glass when I get home in the evening. These choices also apply to how and what we eat, choices around social activities, around what we spend our money on, what we spend our time doing, our relationships, our families, and so on. Thirdly, manage stress. This means first trying to develop insight into whether you are feeling or experiencing stress, and then trying to develop strategies or create mechanisms for reducing it. This may be altering the source of stress itself, such as changing working hours or patterns or trying to improve a relationship that is causing problems. But some stress is difficult to reduce directly, and so attention can be focused on how we manage it. The stress of a busy shift may feel better by going for a run or talking it through with somebody. So be active in employing these as strategies regularly for helping to manage stress. Mindfulness can help, for example. And lastly, access support and treatment if needed. Medical staff are notorious for accessing support or help. If your physical or mental health is problematic, then seeking help early is vital. And if you don't know what help you need or where to get it, then talk to somebody who can advise you. You can also find lots of help through the You Got This program. Overall, the key thing to remember is that you can think about health as a state of body, whereas wellness is a state of being, a perpetual state of trying to feel good. It is worth remembering this, that wellness is about much more than our physical health, and many of us might be healthier, happier, and more successful in our working and personal lives if we paid more attention to it. There is lots of information out there, and it can feel overwhelming. So why not have a look at You Got This? There are open access pages with advice and guidance, and access to blogs, a wellness library, and lots of resources. Or you can register for free when your team or department is using the program. Thank you so much for watching. Please look after yourself, and maybe more important still, please look after each other.